I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. In areas prone to disasters, this House believes that states should prioritize disaster mitigation over relocation. It is within the benefit of everyone involved in areas prone to disasters to not prioritize efforts into relocation, instead into disaster mitigation and prevention. Relocation moves problems. They do not solve problems. It is very easy to do relocation, yet it is very hard to mitigate. That much is true, but the easy way is not always the most efficient way. Let us look and focus our efforts into mitigation. For millennia, humans have always been in a love-hate relationship with nature. Nature has sustained us by giving us food and water, which we need to be able to survive, and we have tried our best to sustain nature for the most part. But nature also tries to hinder our progress as we have destroyed nature for our own benefit. We are like nomads who move, take resources, and when there are no more useful resources, we live without thinking of the consequences left behind. For example, mining is a large industry, but the consequence of it is very large, and the loss of natural plains to industrial might. The lumber industry is also a large industry, and there's also consequences for unmonitored lumbering, which is landslides. But relocation shouldn't be our best answer to the issue of natural disasters. Mitigation should be our best answer. This House disapproves of not being responsible in the area we inhabit. But relocation is an excuse for us not to take action and be lazy. Mitigation solves our problem with highest responsibility. Let us think logically. In an economical perspective, surely it is better to mitigate rather than to move. Imagine all the things left behind and new things we have to do to accommodate those affected, like building new houses and supplying those who are affected with food and water. And also, for the areas affected, the aftermath of the disaster has to be taken care of. Imagine the high cost of such an effort. Therefore, it is truly in the best interest of civilians and government to mitigate. It is not morally right to know something will happen and not let it be known, or even allow it to happen. And I tell you, honorable judges, audience, and the honorable gentlemen and ladies of the opposition, it may seem high, the price of mitigation, but the disaster impending will cost a lot greater. For example, in the very late 1900s, there was a mayor in Japan. He foresaw a tsunami impending, and so he built a dam that was considerably expensive, and his colleague and even citizens mocked him. But in the end, he was right. Although he died before a disaster happened, in the early 2000s, a tsunami hit Japan, and his city was largely saved by the dam he built, while other cities were impacted greatly. Thanks to this, his reputation posthumously increased, and they, the citizens of his city, erected a monument to honor him. He who mitigated a disaster, while other cities had to pay a large price after the impact of the disaster, more expensive than the dam could ever be. Hopefully this example can illustrate my point to the benefits of mitigation. But to illustrate my point further, listen to these arguments provided. Argument 1. Mitigation not only saves money, but also saves valuable land. Point A. With mitigation of disasters, cost due to disasters is largely reduced. Point B. With mitigation, lands impacted do not have to be recovered because it was not impacted in the first place. Point C. Industries in affected areas do not have to recover. Argument number 2. Relocation is expensive and should not be the first thing that comes to mind knowing a disaster is impending. Point A. Not doing anything to stop a disaster provides maximum damage to economy and livelihood of people affected. Point B. Leaving houses to be swallowed by disasters instead of preventing it is a disaster within itself for families affected, and to build them new houses is an expensive endeavor. Point C. Relocation tears communities apart and and that can destroy wealth and also valuable social relations. For these arguments provided, it is the stance of this House that mitigation should be the thing that comes to mind in an impending disaster. And in conclusion, the benefits of mitigation is larger than any benefits relocation could ever be. Take care, don't leave, and just let it be. Thank you.